I'm a furniture maker and a climbing arborist. I work primarily in timber, but I like to kind of explore a variety of materials and processes in my work. I've been working as a climbing arborist for about 10 years. For those who don't know, that means that I sort of climb trees in areas where there are trees and infrastructure. I do sort of like maintenance or removal of dangerous trees. And sort of through that, I just had a huge amount of sort of exposure, one, to the waste in the urban tree industry. These like amazing, primarily sort of Australian natives, eucalyptus trees, because of where they're placed and sort of economics around the tree industry, were just getting chopped into firewood or put through the mulcher, which sort of, as my appreciation for trees and timber was growing, just seemed like just seemed sort of criminal, and sort of drove me to find things to do with the timber that I had access to. I got into being a climbing arborist through travelling in South America for 6 months, and hooked up with this German guy over there who was a rock climber, and ended up buying a combi van with him and sort of driving up and down the Andes, and he sort of taught me rock climbing. And continued rock climbing when I got back, and hooked up with some guys who were pretty quick to tell me that there's no money climbing rocks, but you can make money climbing trees. Kind of felt like I was working hospitality and was kind of thinking that I'd end up finishing my degree and continuing on in hospitality. Wasn't that interested in doing that long term. At the time I was studying an arts degree, doing Australian politics at Monash, so ended up dropping out of uni, much to my mum's disappointment, and doing an apprenticeship as a climbing arborist. So that was about 10 years ago, and I think coming at it from that trade perspective, the timber industry is really exposed to sort of like the grit and the grime and the human effort that it takes. Trees are these massive, heavy, beautiful monoliths that, are so ubiquitous in society, you kind of look past them. A huge part of my practice is focusing on the value of materials, timber is it's like the first building material that humans ever used. It's one that is really recognisable in its raw state to its process form. By trying to use my design work to communicate the value of timber as a material, and the amount of processes that it goes through from being a tree to being a piece of furniture. All materials came from the earth at a certain point, and it's so easy to forget, we're surrounded by these highly refined materials everywhere. Everything once came from the earth and has that exact same value, whether it's plastic taken from crude oil or steel from a mine. It all came from the earth and needs to be kind of revered and cherished. My time at the Jam Factory has been just amazing. It's been such a valuable experience, and I don't know how I would have been able to create a viable practice on my own without the sort of support and the infrastructure that a place like the Jam Factory offers. So I think the biggest thing for me at the Jam during my time as an associate was dialing into having access to all these world-class artists, all in this space, all really accessible. You can just go up and have a conversation with. And I think it's really driven the direction of my practice as I went through the associate program and now as a studio tenant. Something that has really sort of informed the way that I work is collaborative design projects. I found that for myself, something that I really wanted to tap into was learning about other people's design processes. The Jam is just the perfect place to do that. So my most recent work, the Untitled Coffee Table and Side Table, which I collaborated with Noah Hartley in the Glass Studio with. It was pretty timely for me in my practice to sort of go down that path with Noah. I think it was a really good learning opportunity for me to not only learn a lot about the medium of glass and challenges and sort of benefits of using that as a material, in a space like the Jam Factory, which has one of only 2 commercial glass studios in Australia. That was a pretty strong motivating factor for me while I'm here, was to tap into the glass studio and do work down there. Something that I've really learned through being in part of the associate program at the Jam Factory is that, if you treat a design practice like you're an artist, it's not so much just about the object, it's about communicating a value system or communicating an idea. Then it sort of gives my work and my practice a lot more meaning and a lot of relevance in that space. Everything that I've made, it's all sort of been part of this journey that I've been going on. They're like markers in time for sort of periods of my life. Similar to when I've gotten tattoos or something, they become these beacons for, where I was at mentally and within my practice, what I was interested in. And so I think that they all have sort of a story to tell and important part of sort of my journey through uni and the Jam